What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to yet another video. So in today's video, I'm going to be discussing the TTM Squeeze and how I use it in my trading strategy. But real quick, before we get hop into the video, what I need you guys to do is make sure to click that like as well as clicking that subscribe and that bell icon. It would mean the absolute world to me. But without further ado, let's hop into the video. In case you guys haven't seen any of my videos on the past when it comes to the TTM Squeeze, I'm going to basically do a quick little rundown on, the overall momentum, and then we're going to talk about how I actually use this strategy. So if we're looking at the TTM Squeeze Pro, which is going to be this indicator right down here, you can see that we have 4 different colored histogram bars. We have light blue, which is representing strong buying momentum. So as you can see, once we get the light blue, that's when we begin to see that advance in price. So light blue, again, strong buying momentum. But then we have the dark blue, which is basically telling us buying momentum is dying down and to be careful of possible consolidation or a pullback in price. So as you can see, once we start getting that dark blue, we tend to consolidate and slightly pull back. You can see that happen here as well as over here. So remember, dark blue is going to be buying momentum is dying down. Now the yellow is letting us know that buyers are coming back into the market. So as you can see, once we begin to get that yellow, that is when we begin to see the stock come back up in price. So if we're looking at Apple right now on the 4-hour time frame, we have that yellow momentum, and what's happening? The stock price is coming back up. So yellow is telling us that buying momentum is coming back into the market. That's typically when we're going to see an advance in price. And then finally, we have the red, which is telling us that there's very strong selling momentum. And as you can see with Apple right here, we started to get that red. And what ended up happening, it started selling off significantly. So light blue is going to be strong buying momentum. Dark blue buying momentum is dying down. Yellow buyers are coming back into the market. And then red is strong selling momentum. Then at the same time, you have just the length of these histogram bars. Basically what this is telling you is the overall momentum. If the light blue bars are growing and getting bigger, this is letting you know that the overall momentum to the upside is growing. However, if the dark blue is coming down, this is letting you know that that momentum is really dying down. And again, as you can see, these bars shrunk significantly. And what did Apple do? I mean, of course it was the pre-market, but it's the same thing, whether it be a 5-minute, 10-minute, daily, whatever. It started to consolidate and slightly pull back. So the overall momentum was really dying down in this scenario. Now in the red bar scenario, as these things grow to the downside, this is letting you know that the overall selling momentum is picking up significantly. Now on the flip side with the yellow bars, all this is telling you is that those buyers are coming back in, the selling momentum is dying down, and the buyers are driving price up. So you're going to see those yellow bars come up, and they're more than likely going to turn light blue. Now, what I do to understand which way is a squeeze going to fire is I look at the moving averages, so the exponential moving averages. Now, the thing is with the TTM Squeeze, you got to be looking at these on all different time frames. So the setups validate, if you see a 5-minute squeeze, then you want to watch the 5-minute time frame. If you see a 4-hour squeeze, you want to watch the 4-hour time frame. So Apple, yesterday I was talking about it on my Twitter. I really want to see what happens with this thing because this is probably my favorite setup right now, and I might actually look to swing this. But if we're looking at Apple, and on this screen, what I have is going to be the 5 EMA, 8 EMA, 21 EMA, 34 EMA, 55 EMA, and then the 89 EMA, as well as some other TTM Squeeze Pro additions. So typically, if we're getting a squeeze, whether it be yellow momentum or light blue momentum, if the stock is above all of these moving averages, so if all these moving averages are stacked just like this, the green is my 5 EMA, yellow is my 8, the 21 is my white, 34 purple, 55 is this blue right here, and then the 89 is going to be this red. If I see all of these stacked to the upside, and we look at the TTM Squeeze and we have yellow momentum or light blue momentum, the odds of this squeeze firing up is going to be very, very high. Now on the flip side, if you notice that there is a squeeze, so this one is on QQQ on the 5-minute time frame, if you notice that there is a squeeze with either dark blue momentum or red momentum and the stock is below all of the moving averages, the odds of the squeeze firing down is going to be very, very high. So as we can see with QQQ, we had a nice little firing to the downside this morning before the market started to pick back up and end up rallying to the upside. There's a few things you need to look for in order not to get shaken out of a trade. Like if we go back to Apple on the 4-hour time frame, we can see that there was red momentum on that squeeze. However, the thing is we are still above the moving averages. Therefore, as long as we hold these moving averages, more than likely Apple's going to go back to yellow, and then eventually yellow is going to turn into light blue, and we are going to see that squeeze end up firing to the upside. So as long as it doesn't matter what color it ends up being, dark blue, light blue, yellow, or red, as long as it holds the moving averages, more than likely we go back to yellow and then into light blue, and then the squeeze fires. The same thing goes to the downside. So if we continue to hold below those moving averages, whether it be, yellow momentum, light blue momentum, dark blue, or even red, as long as we hold below those moving averages, it is more than likely going to go back to dark blue, into red, and that squeeze is going to fire down. So this is a perfect setup right here. As you can see, we're getting the yellow. However, we're below the moving averages. What happened? Back into the red, squeeze fired to the downside. So that's how you're not going to get faked out in these setups right here. Now, the other thing is with the TTM Squeeze Pro, what you're going to get is you are going to get the early in and out indicator. So basically what the early in and out indicator is doing is it's taking previous bars and it's letting you know the overall momentum during that time. So if we're looking at the colored bars right here, we start to get light blue. Again, light blue is letting you know that there's very strong buying momentum. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles with the light blue bars growing with the red dots as well, meaning we're in a squeeze and there's very strong buying momentum. Well, if we look at the 5-minute time frame, look at the stacked EMAs. They're all stacked up, meaning this thing is more than likely going to fire up, or there's a very high probability. Unfortunately, I've been having computer problems and my computer keeps force resetting. So if you guys know why my computer keeps giving me this blue screen of death, please drop a comment down below and let me know how to fix this, because this thing's been seriously irritating me. But anyways, going back to this, if we're looking at the early in and out indicator, basically once we start to get those green bars, this is the TTM Squeeze Pro telling you, hey, get into this trade because it is about to fire. So we can see right here, it said, okay, get into the trade before Apple even broke out. Get into the trade, get into the trade. And what ended up happening is Apple pushed all the way up to, it looks like 146.14 as of now. But yeah, this thing literally sat there and told you, hey, the squeeze is about to fire up. So if I'm going to be looking to swing Apple, while it's sitting here squeezing, if this bar were to turn green, I would more than likely be looking to add to a swing position and then maybe even add more towards the end of the day. But as always, this is just an indicator. It's helping you understand, okay, when is this thing going to fire? And when that thing flips green, that is telling you, okay, we're ready to fire. Now, on top of that, you also get these up and down arrows with the TTM Squeeze Pro. The thing is with the up and down arrows, and I tell people this all the time, is I piece them together with, is it above the moving averages or is it below? Because right here, it ended up saying, yeah, this thing's going to fire down, but it was trying to come back up above those moving averages. So I've noticed with these up and down arrows that they're not as accurate on the smaller time frames. I like to look at them on the bigger time frames. So if we actually pull up an example of actually right here is a really good one. It said, multiple times up, what happened? Squeeze fired up. But the one that we ended up trading last year that, we absolutely crushed this was on Tesla. So if we go to Tesla right here, if we're looking at Tesla on the 4-hour time frame before the market even opened, what do we notice with Tesla? Light blue momentum, orange dots, which we'll get to the dots here in a hot minute because I forgot to explain that. Orange dots, light blue momentum above the moving averages, and then what do we have? Up arrow, up arrow, up arrow. What is this telling us? The squeeze is going to fire up, or there's a very high probability that the squeeze is going to fire up. What ended up happening with Tesla? I mean, it ran all the way up to 760.2 that day, which was an absolutely insane move. Yeah, if you're able to piece together one, what are these arrows telling you? Are they pointing up? Because if they were pointing down in this scenario and the price is above the moving averages, I just ignore them. But if they're going to sit here and confirm what I'm actually seeing, that's even more confirmation in my trade. So if we have all of those pointing up, light blue on the momentum, above the moving averages, the likelihood of the squeeze firing up is going to be very, very high. So now real quick, going back to the colored dots on the TTM squeeze, basically what I really like to look for is going to be the red dots and the orange dots. The red dot is letting you know, okay, this thing is in a squeeze. And if you imagine a squeeze, imagine you're blowing air into a plastic bag and then you twist it, what's eventually going to happen? That bag is going to pop. That's essentially what a squeeze is. So it's letting you know a very tight consolidation in price and basically saying, hey, watch out, there is going to be a big move soon. So I'm always looking for red dots, and that's specifically why I have this right here, which basically shows me where are the squeezes. So Apple's in a 4-hour squeeze, AMD 4-hour squeeze. We have a bunch of 1-hour squeezes. So if you guys do want to see a video on how to set this up, make sure to like the video and comment down below. But yeah, so I'm constantly looking for squeezes because the squeeze has been my highest probability setup. And then on top of that, you also have the orange dots, which the orange dot, if you see that, you need to pay attention because that is basically telling you, okay, this thing is so tight in price that a huge move is going to be made. So if you were to rank it, an orange dot squeeze is going to always be number 1, and then the red dot is going to be number 2. On top of that, you also have the black dots, which is basically just saying, hey, the squeeze is firing, stock price can move even more. And then the green dot is basically saying, yeah, the stock is fired and, you know, it's going to make a move. And yeah, the stock is able to move a little more freely now than it was when it was in the red dots, because again, red dots or orange dots, price is very, very consolidated. You're not really going to see a big move. We have the ready, aim, fire indicator. So the ready, aim, fire, I mean, I use it on this chart right here, but I really like to use the early in and out, which again is the colored candlesticks, the up and down arrows, plus the TTM Squeeze Pro. With this ready, aim, fire indicator, this is basically helping you also understand, okay, when is this squeeze going to fire? So if we go back to Apple on the 4-hour time frame, we can see that we got the up arrow on the ready, aim, fire, which is saying, okay, yeah, this thing is ready to fire to the upside. So then if you can piece all of that together with everything that we're seeing, okay, Apple's above the moving averages. We have the yellow momentum letting us know that buyers are coming back into the market. We have the up arrow on the ready, aim, fire indicator. The probabilities of this thing actually firing up is going to be very, very high at that point because you have multiple different confirmations on all of the other TTM squeeze indicators. But yeah, as always, nothing is never 100% certain in the market. So, you know, just make sure to use proper risk management. But like I said, the TTM squeeze has been my favorite indicator to use. I've been using it for years, way before I even got affiliated with them. So I'm not just saying that because I'm affiliated with them now. I would have said it 2-3 years ago. If you guys knew me or you guys followed me from the very beginning, I literally made multiple TTM squeeze videos before I was ever even affiliated. And I still said then, TTM squeeze is by far my favorite trading indicator. But yeah, keep an eye on Apple going into these next, tomorrow's Friday. So watch it tomorrow, watch it next week. Let's see what happens with this squeeze. But if you guys did enjoy the TTM squeeze video and you guys do want to learn more about the TTM squeeze, make sure to check the link down in the description. If you do want to pick up the TTM squeeze, feel free to do so. But other than that, if you guys have any other video recommendations, make sure to comment down below, letting me know what you want to see. If you guys do find value in my videos, make sure to click that like as well as clicking that subscribe and that bell icon. It would mean the absolute world to me. As always, everybody have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.